Hi, Andrea here. I hope you're doing well. Today I'm back with a controversial topic. You might remember we talked about fruits. If you have not seen that video, I will link it up here. And today we will talk about the other part because we always say, or they always say, oh, you need to eat your fruits and vegetables. And so we talked about fruits, and today we're talking about vegetables. Are they healthy? And as usual, big disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, and I'm not giving any nutritional recommendations with these videos. They're just for informational purposes only. I will link all the reference materials in the description. Please do your own research and talk to your doctor or nutritionist. So, what about vegetables? You surely know the story that vegetables are healthy and fibers are healthy and you should have them in your diet, etc., etc. So, let's not talk about that. Today, let's try and explore the counter arguments. And let's start from our digestive system. So, vegetables, plant matters, are basically carbohydrates, a combination of simple sugars and complex sugars. You have digestible carbohydrates, like the glucose part, the starch, and the indigestible part of the carbohydrates, which are called fibers. Our digestive system cannot digest fiber. And there are two types of fibers: soluble fibers and insoluble fibers. The soluble fibers go into our digestive system, they create a gelatinous matter, and our bacteria in the colon will actually feed on that and produce gas and also produce some short chain fatty acids. It's basically a fermentation. The insoluble fiber is not digested at all and it just passes through. It's basically cellulose. It's almost like wood. You're introducing wood, you are expelling wood. So, when you ingest plants or vegetables, you are ingesting some digestible carbohydrates, glucose basically. In some cases, for some vegetables, there are some small amount of proteins, and you are ingesting fiber. And then along with that come also all the micronutrients, so vitamins, minerals, etc., etc. Now, another aspect of vegetables and plants in general is that plants, because they are stationary, they cannot move, they cannot escape predators, have developed defense mechanisms that are different from the defense mechanisms of animals. And the defense mechanisms are mostly chemical. And these chemicals are basically poisons. A clear example is kidney beans. Kidney beans require you to soak them in water for a long period of time, 12 hours or more, because lectins are water soluble. So you soak them, the water will eliminate some of those lectins from the plant, from the beans. You have to discard the water, by the way. And then you have to cook them. You have to cook them at high temperature, preferably in a pressure cooker, to kill all the remaining lectins. And then they're safe to eat. I was actually talking to a person about her habit of soaking the beans overnight. And she didn't know the reason why she was doing it. It was just a habit that was passed along from generation to generation because our ancestors knew. Now we don't know. We just repeat the gestures of soaking the beans and then cooking them. And then different plants have different defense mechanisms with different effects. But all plants have it. All right, then let's talk about nutrient density. The nutrient density is the amount of beneficial nutrients for us humans based on either calorie content or weight or whatever of that particular food. If you compare plant foods with animal foods, absolutely, no question, animal foods are more nutrient dense. Take weight, for example. If you take the same weight of food, animal food versus plant food, both micronutrients, macronutrients, animal foods are far more nutrient dense, which means that you need to eat far more of the plant matter to get the same nutrient content. Whereas with animal products, it's more efficient. So you can eat less of that food and get all the nutrients quicker. Connected to nutrient density, there is also the concept of nutrient bioavailability, which means how much those nutrients in that food are available to our body, to our digestive system. So how much of those nutrients can we actually absorb efficiently? And it turns out that the nutrients, micronutrients and macronutrients in animal foods are far more bioavailable. For example, all the fat-soluble vitamins, you need fats. So you need those vitamins in a package that contain fat to absorb them properly. And also, we talked about the chemicals, the defense chemicals in the plants. Some argue that those chemicals are actually acting as anti-nutrients, meaning that they block or diminish the bioavailability of the micronutrients in plant foods. And then connected to the bioavailability, let's talk about soil depletion. So our modern unsustainable agricultural practices, monocropping, overuse of pesticides, and many other things, we have depleted the soil. The soil does not contain all the organic matter with all the beneficial bacteria and all the nutrients that it used to. So the plant products that we produce today are actually less nutritious. So if you think about the nutrient density, the bioavailability, and the fact that the plants contain less nutrients in the first place, then you have to come to terms with the fact that those plants, those vegetables you're eating, are not actually delivering to you all the nutrients that you need. And then finally, let's talk about gut health. The common thinking is that you need to eat your veggies because of your gut, to feed your gut bacteria, to increase the biodiversity of your microbiome, etc., etc. And let's talk about three aspects. One is bloating and abdominal pain. One is leaky gut and autoimmune diseases. And then the last one is constipation, which is a big one. So as I said at the beginning, the soluble fiber gets fermented in our gut and produces gas. So if you experience, after eating, if you experience bloating, you feel like your gut is expanding and you have a lot of gas, then yeah, those are the soluble fibers. So you ate too much veggies. Is that good or bad? I don't know, but that sensation of being bloated and not well comes from that. Then connected to the previous discussion on plant toxins, those toxins can cause leaky gut. Basically, the leaky gut is when the barrier between your body and the content of your digestive system, your intestine, is broken. So the wall somehow has holes and it leaks bad pathogens into your body, which should not happen. And those plant toxins can be one of the causes of leaky gut and consequently autoimmune diseases. And finally, let's talk about constipation, because constipation, the classic recommendation when you are constipated is eat more fibers. But think about it. Fibers, especially the insoluble fibers, basically are undigestible. They go in and they come out. They are not broken down. So they will create bulk, okay? And that is actually one of the reasons why they tell you you should eat the fibers, because they create bulk and they push the other bulk that you have already and cannot come out. But think, for example, at road work. So you are driving, you have a 3-lane freeway, and all of a sudden there is road work ahead, and they had to restrict the lanes to 1, for example. The road becomes narrower. What do you think will happen? And what is the solution to the traffic that will result from that? Do you think that putting more cars in that freeway will lead to less traffic and will lead to an easier flow of cars through that passage? Well, you know, that's exactly what's happening in your gut. All the stuff that you have down there has to go through a small hole. And if you keep ingesting stuff that cannot be digested and broken down and absorbed, but it's just waste, you're actually not helping your cause. You're making it worse. And there is actually a study that I will link down below that actually tested this hypothesis. And they took a sample of people that had a number of digestive issues: constipation, bloating, abdominal pain, etc., etc. So many issues chronically. Okay, so they took them and they rated all those symptoms at baseline, and then they tried a few experiments. They tried to give them more fiber, less fiber, or no fiber at all. And guess what happened? If they gave them more fiber than baseline, then all the symptoms increased. If they decreased the fiber, then all those symptoms decreased. And guess what? If they eliminated the fiber completely, all the symptoms, 100%, disappeared. So it's not like they decreased, they disappeared, which is unbelievable. Don't discard this information. Don't just think religiously, as we usually do, that, oh, you need to eat your veggies and fruits. No, just look into it. Look into it. And especially if you have some symptoms, the classic bloating, diarrhea, constipation, and some autoimmune disease, look into it. And maybe you will be surprised to find that it might be the plants. All right, I hope this information was useful. Surely it was controversial, but hopefully it was thought-provoking, and hopefully it gave you some new information that goes against the common way of thinking and the religious approach to vegetables are good, you need them, you have to eat them. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube, subscribe to my channel. If you have family members or friends that need help with weight loss, share this video with them. And if you're still stuck, then please contact me. I can help you out with this new information that I'm talking about, and you can then do it by yourself, or you can hire me as a coach, whatever you want. Okay? I hope to hear from you soon. Bye.